In an exclusive restaurant, a millionaire Arab Sheikh's message was hidden until a waitress revealed it all. Emma's heart raced as she placed the ornate cocktails on the shiny table, feeling like a tiny fish in the ocean of wealth swirling around her. The lavish decor sparkled, illuminating glitzy smiles and hushed whispers among the elite. A millionaire Arab sheikh had just arrived, and the atmosphere buzzed with tantalizing gossip and intrigue. Who was he? What grand plans did he have for the night? She couldn't shake the feeling that hidden within the flashing lights and extravagant drinks was something more significant. With her younger brother, Jake, fighting his demons of addiction, Emma had become the steel backbone of her family. Their mom worked long shifts at a local diner, leaving Emma to carry the weight of 2 jobs. Her cheeks burned fiercely from the exhaustion that seeped into her bones, but she would never let it show. As she moved through the maze of tables, she clutched the vision of a brighter future for Jake, a future where he was free to chase his dreams instead of being consumed by his addiction. In that moment, the sheik leaned back in his seat, his voice a low rumble as he discussed the disparity he observed in American life. Flashes of insights flew past her ear like whispering ghosts. What draws a person from rags to riches? He questioned, an inquiry that struck Emma's core. The murmurs skewered through her, not just about wealth, but about justice, equity, and the raw struggle she endured daily. That moment ignited something within her, kindling a fierce determination to understand the essence of his message. But right when hope simmered to a boil, disaster struck. A high-profile guest accidentally spilled champagne all over a 2000 jacket. Emma felt the icy grip of fear slice through her. The restaurant management's eyes bore down on her, and she knew with every ounce of her being that her mom's and Jake's future hinged on this job. Her hands trembled as she fought to contain her mounting despair. Emma glanced at her coworkers, every one of them fighting their battles. This wasn't just about her anymore. It became personal. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The confrontation with the management was brutal, voices raised, judgmental eyes piercing through her soul. Yet Emma stood resilient. Her mind raced with thoughts of Jake and how much every dollar counted. She couldn't bear to let this battle define her. She quietly rallied her fellow staff around a table in the break room, each sharing their own tales of injustices faced while toiling in the shadows of a glitzy world that brushed them aside. Together, they formed an alliance forged in shared pain and hope, aiming to unveil the truth behind the Sheikh'S presence. Just as the night unfolded a path towards liberation for herself and her newfound comrades, Emma's phone buzzed violently in her pocket. Trembling, she reached for it, a message from her mom. "Jake, it's bad this time." Emma's heart plummeted. The choice weighed heavily upon her: pursue the Sheikh'S message of social equity or rush to Jake's side in his hour of need. The crossroads stood before her, and clarity eluded her like smoke. In that fleeting moment of realization, Emma knew her story was just beginning, and the world lay open with choices calling her name. What path would she choose, and how far would she dare to traverse for both love and the pursuit of justice? Emma stood motionless, gripped by the weight of her decision. The laughter and chatter from the restaurant seemed to fade into a distant hum. All she could hear was the racing of her heart, pulsing warnings that time was fleeting. Her brother needed her, and she could almost see his eyes pleading for help, the same way they had during those desperate nights filled with tears and broken promises. Taking a deep breath, she turned to her coworkers who were rallying around their shared cause. Their faces lit with determination, ignited by a cause she believed could change their lives, even if just a little. But could she truly abandon them now? The Sheikh'S powerful words echoed in her thoughts. What draws a person from rags to riches? This man was there for a reason, and maybe, just maybe, he had the power to influence the lives of those around him, including hers and Jake's. "Listen," she said, her voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside her. "I have to go check on my brother. He's in trouble." The acknowledgement of her reality brought a pang of guilt. The group shared worried looks. She could see their support shifting to concern. They had built something together, something larger than themselves, and she felt like a deserter. "Emma, wait." One of her fellow waitresses called, stepping forward. "Don't forget what we were talking about. We can use the Sheikh to voice our struggles. This is our moment." As those words settled into her thoughts, a fire ignited in her chest. Perhaps this wasn't an either-or situation. What if she could do both? What if she could save Jake and, in the process, rally the Sheikh to understand their fight? She had always been stubborn. Maybe this was just another moment to prove to herself and the world she wouldn't let down those she loved. "I'll speak to him," Emma declared, the tremors of uncertainty settling into resolve. "But I need backup. If we can bring the others into this, maybe we can steer the conversation toward something genuine. Show him the real side of life that feeds into both our struggles and victories." Her coworkers nodded, a tangible web of fierce loyalty binding them together. They gathered around her, each one sharing a moment of encouragement, each promising to continue their struggle even if Emma was pulled in another direction. Together, they formed a battle cry of hope, thrusting the weight of their realities into this chance meeting with the Sheikh. With renewed purpose, Emma hurried to the back of the restaurant. Her heart raced, pounding like a war drum drowning out her doubt. The lavish dining room teemed with life. Laughter erupted from tables as the scent of delicate spices and rich wines danced through the air. There, in the center of it all, the Sheikh sat, his presence all-consuming, as though he carried the weight of the world on his shoulders. Emma inhaled deeply, gathering every ounce of courage she could muster. Would he even listen? Would he relate to the plight of people like her and her brother? She could feel the stakes rising not just for her, but for every soul in the restaurant who wrestled with their own burdens. As she approached the table, she caught the eye of an older gentleman who looked up from his conversation with the Sheikh. He raised an eyebrow, curiosity mingling with the elegance of the moment. She took one step closer, her heart pounding against her ribs. This was it. This could change everything. "Excuse me, sir." Emma's voice quivered slightly, but determination hardened her resolve. "I need to talk to you." Just as she opened her mouth to pour her heart out, she noticed the Sheikh's expression shift. He leaned forward, studying her with a piercing gaze that seemed to penetrate the carefully bred atmosphere. But before she could gather her thoughts, he spoke. "Your spirit draws me in," he said in a calm, deep voice. "What is it you wish to share?" Emma paused, feeling the weight of the moment crush her with both fear and hope. How could she encapsulate her world in a few words? Pressure mounted as the faces around her blurred. It was now or never. "Jake needs help," she whispered, her voice trembling. And with those words, Emma suddenly realized that she wasn't just fighting for herself, but for all the silent ones fighting battles behind the scenes. Would she manage to reach him? What depth of understanding could come from this pivotal moment? The entire room seemed to still, waiting for her next move. The Sheikh's eyes narrowed slightly, an intriguing blend of curiosity and sympathy dancing in their depths. Emma's heart raced, her voice barely above a whisper. The muted chatter of the restaurant faded further away until it felt like they were the only two in the universe. "What kind of help does your brother need?" he asked, his tone gentle yet assertive. It felt like an invitation, a door opening, just a crack. Could she step through? Emma took a breath, her nerves sparking like static. She could see flashes of her brother's smile in her mind, memories of the innocent laughter they used to share before the weight of life as hardships pressed down on them. He's in a dark place. He's struggling with his addiction. I don't know how to help him anymore. Emma swallowed hard, glancing briefly at the audience surrounding them, then back at the Sheikh. "I just don't want to lose him." The Sheikh leaned back, folding his arms, his gaze never leaving hers. "Addiction is a powerful adversary," he replied softly, his expression thoughtful. "But you believe he can change?" "I do," Emma replied, her voice steadying. She felt a surge of energy, like a wave of solidarity rushing through her. "I know he can, but he needs resources, options, someone to listen. Not just family, but professional help, and people who understand." Around them, the diners continued their meals, oblivious to the spark igniting at the table. But Emma could sense the shift in the air. It was as if charged particles were gathering, ready to create a storm of change. She was not just talking about her brother anymore. She was voicing the struggle of many, a chorus of hope blending into despair. Your passion is commendable, the sheik replied, warmth infusing his tone. But what do you propose? Maybe you could help rally others who feel the same. Emma rushed on, seizing the moment. Your influence could change lives. You could provide funding for treatment programs or awareness campaigns. I need you to understand. It's not just about fighting the addiction. It's about healing families and rebuilding futures. The Sheikh's brows furrowed slightly as he absorbed her words. Was it possible that she was weaving a connection here? Emma felt a swell of determination flooding through her, and she leaned further forward. You want to draw people from rags to riches, but how about starting with those in the shadows? Lift them out. Show them they are not alone. If you can do that, you can change everything. He considered her for a moment longer, the weight of his silence stretching between them. Emma's heart pounded in her chest, each second echoing like a declaration. Could she truly convince him? There was a moment of hesitation before the Sheikh's lips curled into a serious smile. You're right, he said slowly, each word deliberate. These issues must be faced directly. I hear you, Emma. What you say resonates. Relief washed over her, but before Emma could express her gratitude, the older gentleman beside the sheik cleared his throat. And what of the others in your restaurant? Their stories, too? Emma felt a flicker of hope ignite once more. They are fighting battles worth celebrating. They represent strength, resilience. Bring them to me, the sheik said, his voice echoing a commanding authority tinged with curiosity. Let me hear their stories. Let us see how we can work together. The world swirled around Emma, buzzed with excitement as she took a step back, absorbing his words. This could be it. This could change the life of her brother and others fighting similar demons. But suddenly, a sinking realization washed over her. She would have to rally her friends, share their vulnerabilities. Was she ready for that? What if they don't want to be heard? She questioned, concern shading her voice. Then it's up to you to inspire them, the sheik replied, a probing intensity lighting up his eyes. The challenge ahead was daunting, and uncertainty lingered thick in the air. Yet, for the first time in a long while, hope bloomed in Emma's chest. But would she have the courage to bring her coworkers into this vision, to speak for those too scared to? Could she help empower her community, even knowing the scars that lay beneath? The room buzzed back to life around them, the significance of her words hanging in the air like a fog. Emma had taken the first step into a profound and uncertain journey. Now, she had to trust in her network, in the strength of those who shared her mission. And as she turned to look back at the sheik, a question hung unspoken between them. Was she ready to lead? The moment trembled, a pivot point. The stakes had never been higher. Emma's mind raced as she stepped away from the table, adrenaline coursing through her veins. She couldn't believe what had just happened. The Sheikh's words were like a lifeline thrown into stormy waters. Yet, the weight of her task settled heavily on her shoulders. Rallying her co-workers wouldn't just require courage. It meant facing their fears, exposing their struggles, and uncovering truths they may not be ready to share. As she walked back to the service station, her heart drummed in her ears. The warm ambience of the restaurant felt suffocating now, the laughter and chatter of patrons just a backdrop to the chaotic thoughts swirling in her head. She glanced at her friends, serving plates and laughing together, effortlessly cheerful in their work. Did they realize the depth of their battles? The silent storms many of them fought daily? Emma, one of her co-workers, Mia, flashed her a bright smile as she refilled water glasses. You seemed really into that conversation. What was it about? That simple question cut right through her haze. Emma's chest tightened. How could she explain what lay ahead? You wouldn't believe it. I just talked to the sheik about addiction, healing, and support for our community. Mia raised an eyebrow, intrigued. Like, helping people get back on their feet? Exactly, Emma replied, her voice gaining strength. But it's bigger than that. I think we can actually make a difference. We just need to tell our stories, to let him hear us, to show what we've overcome. Mia's expression shifted, skepticism evident in her eyes. And you think they'll want to share? It's tough for most of us to even talk about it. Emma took a moment, remembering her brother's struggles. I know, but I believe it could help. If we don't take the first step, who will? Our voices could inspire change. We could help people who feel just as lost as we did. Her determination was met with silence. Emma scanned the faces of her coworkers, noticing the uncertainty flickering in their expressions. She could feel their hesitation. It took a leap of faith to expose vulnerability. But how could she convince them? Suddenly, a thought struck her. What if we held a gathering? A day where we share our stories in a safe space? The Sheikh could even be part of it. What if he could see the people he is helping, hear their truths? Maybe, Mia said slowly, a hint of interest sparking behind her hesitation. But, Emma, that is not just exposing our stories. It's risking our pride, Emma finished for her. Her heart raced again. But isn't that worth it? If we can help someone else? Mia looked thoughtful but still concerned. I don't know him. It's a lot. People might not want to dig up the past. A rush of defensive emotions swept through Emma. But it's the past that shapes us. It's how we can connect with others. If we can find the courage to share, we might just empower someone else to change. Just then, she caught sight of the Sheikh observing quietly from his table, a deliberate mix of patience and intrigue on his face. There was no going back now. Let me think about it, Mia finally said, her voice softer, less dismissive. As Emma prepared to return to her duties, a fragment of hope blossomed in her chest. Maybe, just maybe, her co-workers would join her in this fight, ready to unveil the stories hiding in their shadows. But when she turned back to the Sheikh, uncertainty crept back in. Was she ready to advocate for her friends, to be the voice that might finally resonate? And what if she couldn't convince them? Would the opportunity to make real change slip through her fingers like so many moments before? The path ahead was unclear, but Emma knew one thing for sure: she had to try. The Sheikh had opened a door, but would she walk through it alone? Emma stood at the service station, her mind swirling with ideas and fears. She glanced at the other servers, their laughter ringing in her ears. It was a comforting sound, yet she felt a disconnect. As happy as they seemed, wasn't there more lurking beneath the surface? Her hands trembled slightly as she wiped down the counter. She thought about the Sheikh, how he truly wanted to help. What if she could rally her coworkers? What if they shared their stories and, in turn, found strength in unity? The thought ignited a flicker of hope within her. But would her voice be strong enough to pierce their silence? Mia, she said, turning back to her friend, how about we gather and talk together? Just the servers? No managers, just us? Mia studied her, a mix of curiosity and concern on her face. What would that accomplish? Do you really think we could just share our struggles like that? Why not? Emma replied with more passion than she intended. This could be our chance to be heard. We can support one another in ways we haven't before. Silence enveloped them, and Emma felt a tight knot form in her stomach. She needed a way to draw them in, to make them feel what she felt. Look, I know it's scary, but we have all faced our own battles. This could be a chance to heal together. Mia hesitated, biting her lip. I mean, it sounds nice, but I don't know what I'd even say. It feels too exposed. Exactly, Emma pressed, heat rising in her cheeks. But isn't that the point? To expose our truths? If we want change, we have to be willing to face our pasts. We can't do it alone. Mia nodded slowly, a flicker of understanding crossing her face. Okay, maybe, but you have to be ready to lead. You know that, right? Emma's heart raced. She had started a conversation, but the journey ahead now loomed large. What if her leadership fell flat? What if they turned her down? Feeling a rush of vulnerability, she swallowed hard. I will. I promise. Inspired, Emma moved through the restaurant, checking in with each colleague, planting seeds of hope. Hey, can we chat? She asked Sam, a server who had once confided about his own struggles. Slowly, she gathered her courage as she opened discussions. Some nodded, some hesitated, but all listened. Emma could see the uncertainty in their eyes, the fear of peeling back the layers they had carefully constructed. She wanted them to know that their stories mattered, that they mattered. Later that evening, Emma found a moment alone, leaning against the cool brick wall outside. She stared up at the stars, the gentle breeze brushing against her skin. It was there, under that vast sky, that she felt the weight on her shoulders lighten just a bit. Change was a fragile thing, but it started with whispers. Suddenly, her phone buzzed, startling her. It was a message from Mia. Let us talk again after the shift. I think I actually want to hear what others have to say. Hope blossomed anew. Emma realized she might not be alone in this fight after all, but how far would they all be willing to go? One conversation could lead to something greater, yet there was still an uncollected thread lingering in the air. As she returned inside, the energy shifted. The laughter felt different now, infused with a subtle anticipation. Emma looked towards the Sheikh'S table, where he raised an eyebrow, as if sensing the change within her. Was she ready to take this leap? As the crowd buzzed around her, a new concern crept in. If she could rally her colleagues, would the weight of their stories become too heavy to bear? The thought sent a shudder through her, leaving her yearning for clarity in the echo of their laughter. Would the stories they shared turn into a burden or a bridge to healing? Emma stepped back inside the restaurant, her heart pounding. The laughter of her coworkers now seemed more like a chorus, veiled in unspoken thoughts. She caught glimpses of Mia across the room, sharing a laugh with Sam and a couple of other servers. It didn't escape her how easily they masked their inner struggles beneath smiles. Emma took a deep breath and forced herself to focus on the task at hand. She had sparked a conversation, but now she needed to nurture it. After the shift, she and Mia would need to gather everyone in an informal meeting, perhaps at a nearby coffee shop. Would they be open to stepping out of their comfort zones? Would they risk vulnerability? As she cleared the tables, Emma noticed Sarah, a waitress with a shy demeanor, sitting at the edge of the room. Sarah often kept to herself, rarely joining in the conversations full of laughter. Guilt washed over Emma. She realized she had overlooked Sarah in her quest to connect with the others. "Hey, Sarah," she called softly, making her way over. "Do you have a minute?" Sarah looked up, surprise etched on her face. "Oh, I'm sure. What's up?" Emma settled on the edge of the chair across from her. "I'm trying to gather everyone for a little chat. Just the servers, to talk about, stuff we deal with." "Like what?" Sarah's brow furrowed. "Anything really. Work pressures, personal stuff, whatever comes to mind. We can share, support each other. I think it could be helpful." Sarah shifted in her seat, glancing away. "I'm not sure I have anything to share." Emma felt a pang of empathy. "I get it. I didn't either at first. But when we're ready, it's kind of amazing how much we hold inside." There was a long silence, and Emma's heart ached for Sarah. She understood the fear of being exposed, the anxiety that came with vulnerability. "What if it doesn't help?" Sarah finally asked, her voice barely a whisper. "It might not, but isn't it better to try than to stay stuck?" Emma replied, feeling a wave of conviction wash over her. "You're not alone, and I want you to know that. I'm nervous too, but we owe it to ourselves to speak up." For the first time, Sarah met Emma's steady gaze and held it. "Okay, I'll think about it," she said. "And if I choose to come, will you be there?" "Absolutely," Emma reassured, a warmth blooming in her chest. As Emma continued her shift, she noticed small changes around her. Conversations began to spark between colleagues who had previously stood apart, the air tinged with curiosity and a glimmer of connection. There was an electric undercurrent that made her feel lighter, as though the unity they sought was slowly taking shape. By the end of the evening, the restaurant buzzed with a different energy. Emma gathered with Mia near the entrance, and they shared hopeful glances. Emma could sense Mia's excitement growing. "I think we have them," Mia whispered, her eyes shining. "Do you think everyone will show?" Emma asked, allowing herself a moment of optimism. Mia shrugged, her lips curling into a smile. "If we keep it casual, they might feel safer. It's worth the shot." Just then, the Sheikh strolled past them, offering a nod of encouragement. There was something about his presence that felt grounding, as though he carried the weight of understanding with him. Emma felt a surge of determination course through her veins. This gathering wasn't merely about problems. It was about transformation. Yet as she dreamt of the conversations to come, a sliver of doubt wormed its way into her heart. Would the stories be too painful to bear? Would hope rise above hurt? The questions lingered as Emma walked home that evening, the cool night air wrapping around her like a comforting embrace. Peace was a fleeting concept, and she couldn't escape the lingering thought. What if their collective sharing uncovered shadows too dark to face? Only time would tell if this gathering would be a path to healing or an unearthing of deeper sorrow. And as the moonlight illuminated her path, Emma's resolve solidified. She was ready to help her coworkers explore those shadows, but at what cost? The challenge loomed ahead, and with each step, Emma felt the weight of the unknown pressing against her. Would they take this leap of faith together? Or would the fear of vulnerability pull them apart? Emma awoke the next day with a mix of anticipation and anxiety swirling in her stomach. The coffee shop meeting loomed closer, and each ticking minute felt heavier than the last. She couldn't shake the doubt that began to settle over her like a thick fog. As she prepared for her shift, she caught herself rehearsing the words she hoped to say. "Let us be real, let's be honest," each phrase echoed in her mind. But she feared they would fall flat. What if no one felt the same urgency she did? Arriving at the restaurant, she noticed Mia was already there, her face painted with excitement. "Emma, I talked to a few more folks this morning. It feels like they're actually interested." Emma's heart raced at Mia's enthusiasm, but there was the ever-present worry gnawing at her. Did they mention any concerns? Some, but they mostly seemed hopeful. This could really be something. Mia's light bounced around the room, forcing Emma to draw in a deep breath, allowing a small smile to break through her trepidation. During their lunch shift, Emma tried to engage her colleagues more actively. Between taking orders and delivering food, she dropped breadcrumbs of encouragement. She caught Sarah's eye across the bustling dining room, and with a small wave, gestured for her to join them. Gathering courage, she approached a table where Sam and another server were chatting. "Hey guys, any thoughts about our meeting tonight?" she asked, injecting warmth into her tone. Sam looked up, his brow furrowing. "I mean, what are we supposed to talk about? Do we really need a group therapy session?" Emma's heart sank. No, not therapy. She felt the pressure of her words, trying to reel them in. "It's more about sharing what we're going through, helping each other out." Another server, Alex, shrugged. "Look, we all have our own stuff, right? It doesn't mean we need to air it out." His voice echoed a reluctance that made Emma's pulse quicken. "Sure, but it might actually help us. If we can open up and support each other, I think it's worth a shot," she said, choosing her words carefully. The skepticism lingered in the air, tension like static electricity. Emma's heart raced as she leaned back, unsure how to break through. "Maybe just come to listen. You don't have to share anything if you're not ready. Just think about it." Emma retreated, her cheeks warm with embarrassment, but deep down, there was a quiet resolve forming. She could see how stuck everyone was, like gears that had rusted under pressure. After the dinner shift, as tables cleared and the chaos started to fade, Emma glanced around the room. She caught sight of the Sheikh again, sitting quietly at the far end, engrossed in a book. His presence seemed both reassuring and strange, like a steady rock amidst the turbulent waves of her emotions. "Are you guys ready?" Mia whispered, her eyes bright with determination. Emma nodded, feeling a jolt of solidarity. They both grabbed their jackets and headed towards the coffee shop. The streets were busier than they expected, neon lights reflecting off the slick pavement. Thoughts of anticipation charged them as they stepped inside the cafe. "Do you think anyone else will come?" Mia's voice broke through the clamor of espresso machines and soft chatter. As they settled at a corner table, the door swung open and in came Sarah, her face a mixture of nerves and hope. Behind her, a few more servers trickled in, hesitant but curious. Emma's heart burst with hope. "We're really doing this," she whispered to Mia, tears startlingly close. But just as excitement filled the air, a familiar voice broke through the chatter. The Sheikh appeared at the entrance, looking around as if searching for someone. Emma's stomach twisted. What did he want? The atmosphere shifted, a new energy threading through the space. What if he wants to join us? Emma wondered aloud, as curiosity danced in her mind. Mia shrugged. If he does, maybe his story can inspire us. As Emma braced herself for the moment, the realization hit her. It wasn't just about sharing burdens, it was about embracing the unknown. Would this gathering hold potential for true change? Just then, the Sheikh locked eyes with Emma and headed toward them. Emma's breath caught in her throat. What was he about to say? Would he add to their quest for transformation, or would he bring unexpected truths that could shift everything? Emma's heart thudded in her chest as the Sheikh approached. His tall frame broke through the gathering of servers, and while the noise of the cafe buzzed around her, it felt like there was a bubble enclosing him and her. She could hardly take a breath as his eyes locked onto hers, carrying an intensity she had never experienced before. "Might I join you?" His voice was deep and smooth, a comforting presence that radiated warmth amid her rising uncertainty. The sudden silence of her colleagues seemed to amplify his question. "Of course," Mia said quickly, a smile lighting up her face. Emma nodded, her throat dry. She hoped her response was welcoming enough to ease the room's tension. The sheik sat, the table suddenly feeling small as he settled in. Emma's mind raced with unasked questions. What was his purpose here? Why was he drawn to this gathering? I couldn't help but overhear he began, looking around the table. You all seem to share a deep desire for connection. It speaks volumes about your character and strength. His words sank in, along with a wave of vulnerability from everyone else. Emma could see Sarah shift in her seat, her carefully composed nerves cracking just a bit. Sam sat back with his arms crossed, still on the fence but intrigued. Why is it so important to connect? The sheik continued, his gaze steady. We often forget our shared humanity in daily life. We are surrounded by others, yet often feel isolated. He paused, inviting them to reflect with his deep-set eyes. Emma felt her chest tighten. Was he about to reveal something that could change their perspective? She couldn't shake the feeling that beneath his composed demeanor, he understood struggle. I come from a world of wealth and privilege, he shared, a flicker of something vulnerable crossing his features. But I left that behind to find purpose. What I learned in my journey is that connection lies in understanding and empathy, something that transcends walls like money and status. His words wrapped around Emma's heart, tugging at something deep within her. Here was this man, with a life most could only dream of, emphasizing the same struggles they were all facing. It was honestly refreshing and oddly comforting. What made you take that leap? Emma asked, her courage peeking through her anxiousness. The room hushed again, all eyes on him. The realization that despite our differences, we all yearn for belonging, he said. I realized my loneliness was a choice until I decided to embrace what it meant to be vulnerable, what it meant to truly listen and connect with others, not just to speak. Emma's heart raced. This was at the very core of what she wanted to share tonight. Someone who understood. She could feel a spark in the air. It was as if the universe was asking them to listen closely. Mia leaned forward, her eyes wide. So, you think it's worth it? To be open and share our stories? The sheik nodded solemnly. Absolutely. Your stories can inspire change. They can reveal hope or healing to someone else who feels lost. Don't underestimate the power of each other's narratives. For a moment, the weight of their hesitations seemed to lift. Emma's thoughts swirled, a renewed sense of purpose igniting within her. Maybe they could create something real, something transformative. As the conversation deepened, the cafe pulsed with a new energy, a sense of togetherness blooming among them. They shared laughs, confessions, and revelations, each person adding layers to the richness of their collective story. Emma felt the raw potential simmering, yet there was a sense of looming fear clinging tightly. What if they couldn't sustain this newfound connection? Just as she opened her mouth to suggest their next step, the cafe door burst open, creating a gust of cold wind that swept through their circle. A shout rang out amidst the clattering cups and startled gasps. Someone needs help outside. A frantic voice echoed, cutting through the bond that had formed. Emma's eyes widened. Was this the moment that would test their resolve? Before she could process, hers was the hand that reached for the door. Let us go, she urged, adrenaline surging. What awaited them outside? And would it pave the way for the solidarity they were just beginning to forge? The air outside was stark and startling, electric with urgency. Emma led the way, her heart pounding in rhythm with the chaotic breaths around her. The moment she stepped through the threshold, she was hit by a blast of frigid air that contrasted sharply with the warmth of the cafe just left behind. Crowds had gathered at the curb, their faces a mix of curiosity and concern. In the center of the commotion stood a figure on the ground, clearly in distress. Emma's stomach dropped as she pushed her way through the onlookers. What had happened? Just then, the Sheikh'S commanding presence was at her side, his aura cutting through the crowd like a beacon. Stand back, he said, projecting calm amidst the chaos. Emma felt a wave of reassurance wash over her as she looked at him. He seemed to embody strength and serenity, a stark counterpoint to the fear rapidly spreading through the crowd. As they reached the scene, the downed man was surrounded by a handful of people, their hands fluttering, their voices rising in anxiety. Emma knelt down beside him. A part of her mind screamed in panic, but she forced herself to focus. She could do this. She had helped others before. Kyle. A woman's voice pierced through the noise. Emma recognized her as one of the cafe's regulars, someone with a vibrant spirit that always lit up the room. Please, someone call 911. The Sheikh was at her side now, assessing the situation. What happened? He asked gently, leaning over as if his presence might emanate a calmness to the gathered crowd. He collapsed. I think it's his heart. Panic surged in the woman's voice. Emma looked at Kyle, who lay pale on the ground, his breath shallow. She could feel the tension tighten in the air, like a string about to snap. Emma, the Sheikh said, scanning the group. We need to create space. Everyone else, step back. His voice was a compelling force, quiet yet powerful. Slowly, the crowd parted, giving them room. Emma's mind raced. This was the moment where everything they had talked about, the connection, the power of shared stories, felt ready to materialize. But there was no time for doubt now. She took a deep breath, her hands steadying as she moved in closer. Let us try to get him lying flat, she instructed, her voice firm and soothing. With the Sheikh's help, they could position Kyle better and get others to create a barrier, keeping the onlookers at bay. As they worked to help, Emma glanced at the Sheikh. His expression was intense but calm, a deep compassion radiating from him. Is anyone here a nurse or doctor? He called, scanning the crowd. Panic morphed into hope as a woman stepped forward, her medical bag clutched tightly in hand. I am. I can help. She rushed forward, kneeling beside Kyle. Emma felt the weight of the moment, the urgency laced with the potential for connection. This was what the Sheikh had talked about, the raw power of being vulnerable, of coming together when it mattered most. As they gathered their strength, Emma felt the rising tide of adrenaline surge within her. More hands joined. More voices of reassurance echoed through the panic. People who were once strangers were suddenly united with a common purpose. In that fleeting moment, Emma saw the beauty in humanity's instinct to help, an echo of everything the Sheikh had said just moments before. But just as hope began to shine through the fear, a siren wailed in the distance. The flashing lights of an ambulance burst into view, drawing near with promise, yet mingling the air with a lingering sense of unease. Stay with him, Kyle, the nurse urged, her voice cutting through the din. As they administered care, the Sheikh and Emma shared a determined glance, knowing this moment would change everything. Are you ready for more? He whispered, urgency lacing his words. More? She repeated, breathless with realization. What if this is just the beginning of the work we need to do together? Emma nodded, heart racing again, but this time with a sense of unyielding hope. The connection they were building felt like it had been waiting for them. As the first responders rushed to take over, Emma couldn't shake the feeling of something larger at stake. Their ability to open up could be a lifeline to many. Little did they know that whatever they forged together tonight might just be the spark that ignited a movement. What would they do next? And how would it continue to unfold? Emma was determined to find out. As the ambulance doors swung open, the chaos outside faded into a backdrop of distant sirens and murmurs. Kyle was being taken care of now. He'd be okay. Emma felt an intense wave wash over her. In that instant of witnessing compassion unfold, the world turned in a way she never could have imagined. Can you believe this is happening? Emma asked the Sheikh, standing shoulder to shoulder with him in the middle of the tight crowd. His eyes sparkled with understanding, but there was something deeper beneath the surface. A shared awareness, perhaps? Yes, he replied, voice steady as he scanned the faces around them. This connection, this urgency, it signifies that change is inevitable. We can harness this desire to help. Emma's breath caught. There it was again, that potent reminder. They had already begun. The bridge they wanted to build was taking form right in front of them. As the paramedics worked efficiently, the crowd began to settle into an unusual calm. Conversations that had once been filled with sharp anxiety transformed into quiet reflections on empathy and togetherness. Emma stepped a few paces back, allowing this evolution to unfold. Do you see it? She asked, her heart swelling with pride and hope. They're uniting. They're listening to each other. This isn't just about Kyle. The Sheikh nodded thoughtfully. It is about every story converging into one, a shared aim and understanding. The strength of community cannot be underestimated. His words resonated deep within her. This was it. This was why she had fought so hard, to inspire that unyielding voice in even the quietest of her colleagues. Emma turned back to the gathering, a feeling igniting within her. We need to harness this. she declared, eyes blazing with excitement. This moment could ignite real change. The Sheikh'S gaze softened, a spark of encouragement illuminating between them. Yes, it can be a catalyst. Let us plan a gathering and event to share everything. We can invite those around us. We can shine a spotlight on the struggles we all face. No more hiding in the shadows. Right? Emma breathed, as adrenaline coursed through her veins again. Maybe we can integrate professionals, individuals who can assist others. Before she could elaborate, the crowd erupted into nervous chatter as the ambulance doors closed and Kyle was carted into the vehicle. Others looked around, as if finally awakening from a trance. One of the onlookers, a familiar face Emma recognized from her many shifts at the restaurant, stepped forward. What just happened here? He asked, eyebrows raised. Did we just become part of something? Yes, Emma exclaimed, emotions bubbling up. This could be a chance to let our experiences break the silence together. Their small circle of colleagues looked on, faces brightening as the impact of the moment began to settle into them. Stories and struggles, once kept locked away, could be a lifeline to others. Their burdens could lighten if they dared to share. Mia stepped forward, eyes alight with inspiration. We can create safe spaces, open dialogues. If we can face the vulnerability together, we can uplift each other, heal as a community. Imagine, Emma breathed, vision igniting. A gathering where we share openly, invite others to join in, maybe even bring in resources for treatment, support systems. This is our moment. As they spoke fervently, people who had witnessed the scene nodded in agreement. Emma felt it, the breaking down of walls around them. They could feel it too, the embers of change glowing brighter. And suddenly, the Sheikh stepped closer, crafting a plan with her and her colleagues. We will make a way. I will use my resources to help facilitate this, he said with authority. We will unite this community and extend our reach. Emma's heart swelled, tears welling as she looked around at her friends. They stood in unity, ready to embrace this next challenge. The potential radiating from each person felt palpable, a testament to their combined resilience. One by one, they gathered numbers, emails, and names, creating a network of individuals ready to act. No longer would they simply serve drinks and meals. They would serve hope, understanding, and inspire courage in sharing their stories. They stood together by the curb. Emma took a deep breath, glancing towards the stars above. This is what she wanted, a world where people came together, where no one felt the weight of their burdens alone. This was more than just a passing moment. It was the beginning of something transformational. Beneath the flickering streetlights, smiles broke out. Hope blossomed across the faces of her comrades. Ready to face whatever lay ahead, a new movement was born that night, of force woven with empathy and unity. Emma could feel the pulse of change thundering in her chest, a promise from her heart that she would help lead the charge. As they concluded their meeting and began to disperse, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something bigger than themselves. And maybe, just maybe, one story echoed at a time could shift the narrative for so many more. This was only the beginning. That if you are moved by Emma's journey, now is the moment to act. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support the movement we're building together. Comment with your thoughts and reactions to this powerful conclusion. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us ignite the change we want to see. Don't wait not even one more second to show your support. This is our moment.